Hi,
Can you hear me all right?
can you hear me?
Yeah.
So how can I help?
Basically, I was wanting to write about the importance of like corporate well-being and like wellness in the workplace. So I've got some questions here that I can just run through. Okay. Well, first of all, just like a start, what would you say corporate well-being means to you?
Well, it's huge at the moment in the business. It's grown enormously. I would say in the last 4 years, where we've actually have wellbeing champions and looking after. I think the company has realised that people had wellbeing issues and not just the obvious ones now with mental health and everything else, and that's come on the radar more and more over the years. So what it means to me, I suppose, is that I know that there's a lot out there and that it's very, very high up on the agenda within John Lewis. Does that make sense? Is that
definitely? I think because now like it is a lot more widely recognised, especially like social media and all that. Just like promoting it and trying to encourage understanding, because it is a really big issue at the moment. And it's good that companies are understanding that now and seeing that like being unwell isn't just physical injury. It could be a lot of other things that you can't tell there. So why do you think it's like so important for companies to engage in corporate wellness?
Well, it's really about we're called partners, so the staff, the partners. If they're not feeling safe and secure and having somewhere, then that has an effect on their working lives. And I think obviously with COVID, but pre-COVID, I think they were recognising that stress levels were getting a lot higher. People were going off. I think it's really funny. I don't know this for sure, but I bet you that back in the day, and so when I could say back in the day, because I've been with the company nearly 40 years, a month tomorrow, I've been with them 40 years actually. So back in then, people were having bad backs or having this or the other, and now it's stress related. It's work-life balance related. We didn't know what work-life balance meant back in when you know what I mean. It's the emphasis has shifted, and I think that a company realizes also if we want to promote good people, get good people into the company, we have to be able to offer and let them know that their well-being is looked after. I think that's a really important part.
Yeah, for sure. I think my dad and my mum don't really get mental health because it was never like a big deal when they were growing up or when they were in work, and like stress, you just kind of get on with it. You just don't tell
totally.
It's just no one cares. Like, but now it's a lot better and people are more compassionate and helpful with mental health, I would say.
Yeah, but I actually think it's not better. I think that it's a shame. I think that there's some of it is. I think social media plays a huge part in it, and I think there is such a stress now on people to be at a certain level within their own, and we never worried about that. So there's good and bad. You're right. I guess in a way, at least social media can spread the word and get the help out there. So there's both sides
like
of it.
Attitudes have gotten better, but like stress has gotten worse.
Yeah, that's true.
Kind of battle really. So I was looking at like a lot of like corporate wellness packages and sort of researching kind of how they engage with it in like employees to make them more conscious. Obviously there's like mentorships, tutoring and stuff, but there's also like quite a lot of sporting activities are like offered to companies, like sports days or like big cycles. So I was wondering, like, why do you think we include sporting activities so much in these packages? Like, do you think there's any like mental health benefits?
Totally. I think that has become even more obvious during COVID. The emphasis, even from the government, is saying get out there, walk, just clear your head. We do a lot of stuff within John Lewis. So there's a big initiative at the moment to do something, to get into a group and then to put yourselves online and then encourage each other to either walk more or do this and eat healthier, etc., etc. I tell you what was a bit of a turning point for us, which was amazing when we hosted the Olympics in 2012. John Lewis was amazing in giving us money especially us with the events coordinators, to be able to put on some sporting events to raise the awareness of Olympics and bring that sort of live within the workplace. And we did things like rowing cycle challenges and rowing challenges, and everybody did different things. But I think sport in any form now, anything that gets you moving, gets you outside if possible, can only be a good thing. I walk now, I'm managing it. I'm doing 5 to 6K walks a day.
Oh, wow.
It's not a big, it really isn't though. You say it, but it's really your 10,000 steps. But, you know, I put on my headphones, I actually listen to a play, or I listen to the radio or something, you know, not always music. And I just walk and lose myself and, you know, build that up. And we've just started a group at work, actually. So one of the girls walks her dog, so she's doing it. I walk. We're not all runners, most of us. Someone's going to cycle and do what they feel comfortable with. And I think it's really important. And I think if there's one positive that's come out of COVID, I think it has got people thinking again about getting up and doing something.
Yeah, I think when you like lock down, you kind of realise just how long you spend indoors and how you're not really that active, to be honest. I had my routine at work when I used to do waitressing before the pandemic started, and that kind of kept me active. But once I was back, like without that routine, it was like, oh my God, I don't really do a lot. Like physical fitness. So I have as well. I think it's encouraged a lot of people to get out because we've got nothing else to do. But yeah, that is definitely one of the key benefits. So how does, obviously you mentioned like that you did a lot during the Olympics and stuff like that, and you have like the groups of you to do the exercise, but how else would you say that John Lewis encourages corporate wellbeing?
So we have clubs and societies. So if anyone wants to open a club or society in a hobby or interest, they can do so. So for example, we have the Velo Club, we have the Swim Club, we have Ventures. Ventures is all about climbing and, you know, the big stuff. I actually belong to the theatre group, so that's not sporty, but, you know, we've got winemaking, we've got poker, we've got everything. So it's about like-minded people coming together. And you mentioned it earlier as well about that safe environment. So because you know that it's run by John Lewis and it's us that work, but we volunteer to run these clubs, that people start joining up and meeting. And Velo, unfortunately, up till now, we're going over to Spain to do cycle rides, and sometimes the business, those that are passionate about it. So my boss is a very keen cyclist, and he did a group and did like London to Paris cycles and all things like that, that is also sponsored by the partnership. It's really difficult because within the scheme of 70,000 plus of us, there is only a small group that will probably do all that. But I think people will still like to do their own walks and their own thing. They're not really keen to join anything more sporty, because we do have quite an older demographic in the partnership because we've all been around so long. So it's very mixed, you know. I personally host the partnership football tournament every year. That is amazing, and I've had to postpone it this year. So that's something that I do as an event. I do the football tournament and encourage everybody from Waitroses and everywhere just to get a team, and then we play at different venues. So the business is really encouraging us to promote it, but it is a lot down to us getting it together, which makes sense because there's bigger issues at the business. There's probably a bit of funding out there if we need it, especially for the clubs and societies. We get a budget every year to do what we want to do, but as I say, you know, you've got swimming, you've got fly fishing, you've got all sorts of things. It's really cool. From the corporate level, where we literally have a health and wellbeing lead within the partnership, so it's now a proper designated job, if you like. Their role really is to filter down healthy eating, so that when we go and eat within our dining rooms, it's not all chips and chips, you know. So there's that element of it, and then really to tap into what we're doing online. And if you want to sign up, like I said earlier, then you can join Healthy Eating. They've done Couch to 5K. They've done a walk from one head office to another. You know, There's certain things. Funny enough, later on this morning, I'm talking to our yoga teacher that used to be in the branch, who's doing online. So I'm organising that for my group. Yeah,
oh, that's good. Yeah. Do you think like corporate well-being, it should sort of become, because like a lot of it, like with packages and stuff, it's kind of like an additional sort of like treat kind of thing, if you like it's not like a concrete part of a company to like have these things and have these days. It's just like an option for most companies. Would you say that it's probably good for it to become sort of a standard practice like everywhere to encourage corporate well-being?
Yeah, I think it can be really, it depends on what, how big your company is. But I think it's quite easy just to start putting ideas in people's heads about what to do and encouraging that togetherness and that well-being, and just making people understand. Our founder always had our well-being, even though it wasn't called well-being back in 18, whatever it was. He had that in his mind because he was the one that set up these clubs, because he wanted people to afford to be able to do things that they wouldn't normally do. So it was always part of the ethos of our company. It probably isn't in the corporate world at all, because it's all about money making and profits and things. And don't get me wrong, it is for us as well. But because the founder and the company still realizes that in order for us to give our best, we have to be at our best as much as possible. So to have everything standardized there. But the thing is, it still is only as good as you want to also use it. But it's all there for you. Does that make sense? It's not, the company would never do something like, you must all go for a walk in the morning, or they'd never do that. But everything is there ready. So it's all sorts of things, and they do take wellness very they take it really seriously, and I think it would be great to be part of everything. That it's really difficult for me because I've never ever worked for anybody else. So I don't really know what else is out there.
No, fair enough.
You could ask another person in the business now, and they won't know half of what I've said because they haven't tapped into it.
Right, yeah.
Does that make sense? It's all out there, but there's a lot of people. I mean, there's very basic stuff out there. But, I never know we did that. And you go, seriously?
Yeah.
For the last sort of 5, 6, 7 years, everything's moved online for us, communication-wise. So that's what's happened. You have to go online, and you can join all these different communities and do your well-being together. It's great. So yes, I think it's a wonderful thing to have, because I think and also it's really important if you're going to be working at home. You need that. You need to have that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, I think as well, some companies might think it's like so expensive to do something like that, but like you're saving a lot when you think about, like, if people are like not as like mentally unwell, there'll be less sick days that you have to worry about paying for. There'll be less like insurance things you'll have to worry about. If people are more engaged and hardworking, and then it can only bring positive things.
Exactly. Even if you just set up an internal mentoring, where you can just safely speak to somebody off. There's going to be a lot of trust issues. I know it's funny about that, because it's always been a little bit, when you used to go up to see the nurse, you'd always think they'd phone down to your manager straight away, and all of this. But I think obviously we don't do that now, but it is a total safe environment. If I have a health issue that I couldn't, I mean, I'm so I don't, but anything that I could safely talk to my line manager about it. And the line managers are encouraged to be aware of it. I don't think many of them are, but you've got to be a bit tuned into it, really. So you're right. I think that's why John Lewis bit the bullet and really made sure they brought it back into the workplace. Sometimes it costs nothing. It costs nothing to meet up after especially or as you say, you just sort of like, if you're online. I would do that if I was running a little company online. I'd say, right, during today I want you to go out and have half an hour walk, or do half an hour, and then feed it back and see how we're doing, and you can have some fun with it, even if it's small steps. But I think in corporate workplaces, they'd be surprised at how many people already have a passion and would love then to run that. At head office, they had a running club, Richard was been running for years, and he just set up. So when they were able to finish at 6 or 6:30, they met outside head office and they'd go running. It was brilliant, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that's nothing at all.
No, it's you know, it's like you make friends with your coworkers, engage together if you like. I guess the corporate things, you suppose you don't really know, like sometimes you might not know like the interests and hobbies of the people that work.
Exactly.
It's not really focused.
Exactly.
So it's a nice surprise to find people that like the same things as you.
Yeah. You know, someone might be really desperate to. I personally like walking on my own because I walk quite fast and I'm quite happy for that. It doesn't bother me unless I'm going out for the day, and then I meet with my friend and we go and have long walks around the parks in London or something, you know, whatever. But but people genuinely would love to have a walking buddy, you know, and sometimes you could be sitting next to them. Well, not now, but at the desk, and So I think, sorry, I've gone a bit long-winded, but yes, fine. I think it's really important that there's that the corporate world is really tuned into it, and there's so many. We've got something we've bought into the Unmind app. It's called Unmind, and it's just an app that we can get on our phone. We've got it, and you use it or don't use it, but it checks in with you. Brings you into different mindsets of different things, and so sometimes it's just as simple as that. Yeah,
that's true. It is not these massive, expensive excursions at all necessarily, unless you do that.
Yeah, it's not about going, you know, climbing Mount Everest. You know, that's what we need for our well-being. It's not like that at all. It's
exactly.
It's really, sometimes the smaller steps are better to start with, and then you can sort of build on it. And as I said, I think we're all very surprised. I am always about the amount of talent that's within the workplace that you just go, really, I didn't know you did that. And you know.
Well, I mean, I think that's all that I really have in terms of that topic. But it was, if I can message you with if I have any questions.
No problem at all. Yeah, definitely. Absolutely fine. Yeah, and just we could do this again. Whatever you want. It's I'm pretty flexible. So,
and this is really fun. Thank you so much for talking.
No, it's an absolute pleasure, and good luck with it all.
Thank you so much. I'll speak to you soon.
I will. Thanks, Sophie. Bye.